All right, good evening, everyone. I do believe that all of the registered participants are now on based on the number that I see that have shown to have registered beforehand. Um, so with that said, I would go ahead and like to call our virtual regular council meeting. Today is March 31st, and it is now 7:09 p.m. And I don't have a gavel with me, so I'm trying to have a gavel. Um, um, so before we get the meeting started, I wanted to make a statement to the record. Considering that this is a brand new forum, I want to be able to indicate some of the procedures that allowed us to arrive here this evening. So with that said, if you all will give me a minute before we do the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silent meditation. Pursuant to Executive Order number 2069, issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum of its members present physically or at any specific location, and utilizing communications media technology referenced as CMT, such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120.54 of Section 5B2 of the Florida statutes. Procedures for the public comment will be shortly explained by the village attorney. The members of the village council appearing remotely for this meeting are Vice Mayor Omar Nickerson, Councilperson Vamari Roman, Councilperson Andres Urban, Councilperson-elect Luis Perella, and myself, Claudia Cabillas, the mayor. Also present in the administration is the village manager, Christia Alou, Chief of Police, David Magnuson, Village Clerk, Yanis Jacoby, and our interim village attorney, Norman C. Powell, are also appearing remotely. As usual, the meeting will be opened with a moment of silence, meditation, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask you all please now to have a moment of silent meditation, and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with the clerk's flag that's right behind her. I ask her to put the flag on the screen for us. So with that said, can I please have a moment of silent meditation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all. Amen. Now I'm going to please ask the attorney to state the procedures to be followed during tonight's meeting.
Yes, good evening, everyone. As the mayor noted, on March 20th, 2020, Governor DeSantis did issue Executive Order number 2069, which suspended the current laws that require a quorum to be present in person at a local governmental body in a specific public place. In addition, Chapter 28-109, entitled Conducting Proceedings by Communications Media Technology of the Florida Administrative Code, also provides guidance for the procedures to be followed to conduct a proceedings by means of communications media technology, or to provide access to a proceeding by use of a CMT. To be sure, the governor's order does not waive any other requirement under the Florida Constitution and Florida's government and the Sunshine Laws. Tonight, the village is using Zoom to hold this virtual council meeting. The Zoom platform does not require the public to purchase or download any additional software or equipment to watch this meeting. Zoom is a cloud-based platform for video and audio conferencing, collaboration, chat, and webinars across mobile devices, desktops, telephones, and room systems. Public comment will occur as they always do at the council and committee meetings. during good and welfare, and after each agenda item prior to the council voting. When the mayor opens the meeting for public comment, anyone wishing to participate will have 3 minutes to speak. How will the residents be recognized to speak in the Zoom application tonight? If you're using a mobile device, you click the raised hand on the button. If you're using computer or personal computer, click on the icon participants on the bottom of your screen. You will see the option to raise your hand. There are 2 ways to view the meeting on your screen. One, there's a gallery view, and then there's a speaker view. The gallery view allows you to view all or most of the participants at the same time on your screen. In the speaker view, whoever's speaking will be viewed front and center, while other participants will be on the top in smaller squares. Please make sure to mute microphones when not speaking. If at all possible, use headphones to mitigate sound feedback. When addressing the village council, please first state your name and then your home address. All comments submitted will be included as part of the public record for this virtual meeting and will be considered by the village council prior to any action taken. Everyone participating in this virtual meeting is required to maintain decorum. No clapping, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support or opposition of any matter will be permitted. No person other than the person having the floor shall be permitted to enter into any discussion, either directly or through a member of the council, without the permission of the chair or the mayor. No question shall be asked of the council member except through the mayor. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or who shall become boisterous, rowdy, or disruptive, will be barred from further participation in tonight's virtual meeting. If at any time during the virtual public meeting, the ability of the public to listen or participate is interrupted due to some or whatever technical problem, the meeting shall be immediately paused during such time and will resume if possible when the technical problem is corrected. Thank you. Now, for this meeting, the village has published an agenda as well as included in the notice to the public pursuant to our village code, the items and topics that will be discussed at this virtual meeting. Additionally, the public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during this meeting, or will be provided opportunity to provide comment during this meeting. Moreover, section 286.0114C of the Florida statute specifically authorizes the village to prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the council of a desire to be heard. This is to indicate his or her support, opposition, or neutrality on any proposition. The village has provided for this procedure to indicate, among other things, anyone who wishes to voice his or her support, opposition, and neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at this virtual meeting this evening. The mayor and council members, are you all comfortable with the notice provisions set forth and these uniform rules of procedures we have established for this virtual meeting? If you are, just say aye.
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 Thank you.
Madam Clerk, may I please have roll call?
Roll call, Mayor Cubillos,
Here.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Here.
Councilperson Urban,
Here.
Councilperson Roman.
Here.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum. Also present for the record, Janice Jacoby, Village Clerk, Christia Liu, Village Manager, Norman Powell, Interim Village Attorney, Chief Magnuson, and Councilperson-elect Luis Perella.
Thank you. Before I ask the village council for approval of tonight's agenda, I am going to request, and I'm going to be tabling item I6, which is Resolution 2020-11, Cristo Rey Miami High School Special Exception, of which during my COVID-19 mayor update in F2, I will elaborate on this decision as such. So may I please ask the council for a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the current revision?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda with the current admission, Madam Mayor.
Vice Mayor has made a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Roman. Madam Clerk, can I get roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Erba,
No.
Councilperson Roman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
With that said, thank you. We're going to move on to E1. Motion to accept the minutes from our February 25th, 2020 council meeting. Please, if there's a motion to adopt those minutes,
I'll motion to adopt.
motion's been made by Councilperson Rowland. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Erba. Madam Clerk, can I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Roman,
Yes.
Councilperson Erba,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Alrighty, as we're moving along to F1 at this time. I think it's going to go down in the history of Miami-Dade County, probably the state of Florida, where we're going to have an elected official sworn in via online. But when we go back to our chambers, which I pray will be very soon, but we'll talk about that a little later, we will definitely take pictures and make sure that you're properly recognized when we're all back at our village hall. But Councilperson-elect Luis Perla, welcome. And at this time, I'm going to ask you to please raise your hand, and the village clerk is going to swear you in.
Okay.
I, Luis Perella,
I, Luis Pirela,
a citizen of the state of Florida and of the United States of America,
a citizen of the United States of America and the state of Florida,
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
do hereby solemnly swear that I will support,
that I will support,
yes,
protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States
protect, and then defend the Constitution of the United States
of
of
America
America
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
observe the provisions of the charter and ordinance of the village of El Portal.
observe
The
the
provisions
provisions and the charter and ordinances of the village of El Portal,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of councilperson which I am about to enter.
and will faithfully discharge the duties
Of
of
councilperson
councilperson,
which I am about to enter.
which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations, welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go right into F2, COVID-19, an update. And I ask you all to bear with me a little because it might be a little long. So while we cannot meet in person this evening, your village administration and village council has created this digital platform for us to remain connected in the hopes to provide continuity in a time of great uncertainty, and not only in El Portal, but in Miami-Dade County, in the state of Florida, and our nation as a whole. I know and I believe that if we are all here this evening, it is because we know, we understand, and we believe that we are going to be stronger together. And that I do believe that now more than ever, it is most important for us to remain connected, not just to us, but to our community. And furthermore, we must educate ourselves, and we must educate one another, and we must educate the community. COVID-19 is clearly testing our patience, our ability to work together, our collective strength, not only as a governing body, but as a community, and I'm sure within all of our homes. Therefore, and with that said, I do again believe now more than ever that we must work together. We must help one another. This is not a time to pick sides, pick fights, pick arguments, or pick things that could potentially lead to a lack of progress. Because I do believe that all of us here want resiliency and we want sustainability for the village of El Portal. and that requires progress, and progress requires continuity of government. So I do believe that this pandemic will come to an end. And then if we have moved forward as a governing body, we are going to put this village in a position of strength and move forward, not only united, but hopefully more united than we were before, for the greater good for a community that we all live in and was working. To give you a brief update on COVID-19, since early March, the chief, the manager, and myself, we had started monitoring COVID-19. As a matter of fact, and with that said, on Friday, March 6th, before the state of Florida was even considered a state of emergency, the village manager wrote a 2-page memo to the staff, and it was titled COVID-19 and its impact on the village of El Portal and staff. In this memo, it was clearly stated about the potential threat, the best practices, the items that were purchased ahead of time for the proper health of the actual staff, and were asked to not come into work if they were sick. But more importantly, had asked if any member in their family was ill during that time to please advise their supervisor, which in this case would be the manager. On March 9th, Florida was first declared under a state of emergency by COVID-19 by our governor. A few days later, Miami-Dade County declared a state of emergency on Thursday, March 12th. The day after, El Portal, who follows the Miami-Dade County emergency protocol, declared a state of emergency on Friday, March 13th, via a press release to the council and residents, whereby we stated that all El Portal community events in March and April were canceled for the health and safety of our community. We also reinforced on that memo and on that press release the CDC best practices and advised our community, our residents, to stay abreast of updates from the CDC and Florida Department of Health that could also be visited on our website with the links and phone numbers. Thereafter, from Saturday, March 14th through Tuesday, March 17th, we, and when I use the word we in this statement, it applies the chief, the manager, and myself, we coordinate with Miami-Dade County meal deliveries to our senior community, as well as we review the resources that may be available to us in a time that we would need it. On Monday, March 16th, we notified our community that the El Portal Tatla was going to be closed, at the same time assuring our community of the government services still available, such as bulk pickup and the postponement of our regular scheduled October council meeting to be held 1 week later, so as to allow the emergency team to best address needs that were arising as they were coming during that time, as well as prepare us to be able to be here tonight and meet like this. And I also postponed the agenda items that were not necessary to any immediate progress or economic development to our village. On March 17th, we coordinated with the City of Miami Emergency Center, also known as the EOC, and thereafter we have been able to have a police officer there to monitor things as they're coming in and keeping us abreast of the information that does come in. As of the week of March 23rd, as president of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities, I, along with my executive board, are in the meeting room via Zoom with the Miami-Dade County mayor and his team, and we really applaud him for including us in that, to collaborate, to share information, and to be in the forefront as county-wide decisions are being made that are going to impact every municipality, and that includes El Portal. On March 26th, a COVID-19 mayor's update was emailed to council, staff, and residents with up-to-date information on what the county has done and what we also are urged to follow. And tonight, before each of you, I am requesting again to extend the state of local emergency, which I will do shortly thereafter. But I want to bring some small attention to just a couple of factors. Some have criticized the efforts of this administration, to include myself, for why we are keeping with government continuity. And my response is this: many of us have lost our jobs. Many of us have had to lay off employees. Many of us have had to put furlough, none of which makes any of us feel any better. In a time of such uncertainty, there must be some continuity to have normalcy. Why do I say that? I say that because most of us are either head of household, most of us are parents in one way or another. And when you're a parent, you must always provide. When you're a parent and you lose your job, it doesn't mean you're going to go home and not do anything. It means you're going to go home and fight to how you're going to make ends meet, because life goes on and you must take care of your children. As long as I've been elected, I have always treated the village of El Portal, especially in cases of emergency, as if it was something I had to take care of, especially in a moment like this. So I say to say that while, yes, we are addressing the health and welfare of every member in this community, and we do it day in and day out, it does not mean that we cannot compartmentalize and be able to still have items that need to move forward. Because the day of tomorrow, when this pandemic comes to an end, we are going to be in a better position. We are going to have had the ability to hopefully move some projects that collectively together we have approved that now are going to be able to offer jobs, are going to be able to work in the community, are going to provide permits in our town that right now we're going to be closed during doing that. That we're not going to have to start all over again. I would not want to introduce a brand new project that has not been considered. I did not want to introduce anything that was not necessary. All that stuff could hold off. Comp plan, yes, we have to work on deadlines, but the architectural guideline and anything else, all that can wait. But if we are going to worry about the betterment of this village in a time where there's a bit of havoc and panic within many of us that are figuring out how are we going to pay our rent, how am I going to pay my employees, all of that is happening, that it's a breath of fresh air to be able to see progress still happening in a time of such doom and gloom. That is my answer to the residents that have taken the time to call me and not write disparaging comments on an administration that it would have been so much easier to just put it all off, because what has transpired since COVID-19 has come into all of our lives and disrupted our routine and our way of being. It has caused us to have a little more. But I do believe that we are doing it because we do believe that it's the best for the village, which prompts me to Cristo Rey Miami High School. I had a very long conversation with the members of the board on the weekend because they called me. And while I had a call into them on Monday morning, it got preempted by a call from them during the weekend. And we agreed on the following. They have been coming to our village and they're very interested in being a part of this community. And if there's one thing that they have consistently said on the record is they want to be good community partners. And in good faith, all of us on that call, whether there was 2 or 3, we agreed on one thing, that we had come a long way and there was a shift in our community where they believed that this would be a good partnership. But unfortunately, because there are members in our community that don't join us at meetings regularly and opine on social media, that really disrupts an image that we all are working to try to achieve. So we believe, why work so hard to shift the mindset of a community and really believe now this is going to be great. This is really going to be a great community partner. They did not want to move forward and have a blemish of this kind and really take 10 steps back instead of taking 10 steps forward, which was all of our intent to be able to move forward. So I agreed, and I said I couldn't agree with you more, and I will let the council know that we are going to table it, and we are going to see how this meeting works out. This is new for all of us. We might have glitches tonight. It's going perfect, I must say, for the last 25 minutes, but that is the reason why. They are still on this call tonight. They still wanted to join as an attendees if they were a resident, and they wanted the opportunity to just see how it was going to work. And I told the one resident that called and really wanted to hear as opposed to just assume, and I said to them that if I had not seen a shift at the last planning and zoning that was so monumentally different than the town hall and the first planning and zoning, I would have never requested for this meeting to have come forward. If there would have been a vote of 3-1 and not a 4-0, I would have never requested this meeting to have come forward tonight. When I put all the items on the agenda tonight, I took out items that could wait, and I put items that I thought were in the best interest of the village. And I also thought that the council was on board with it based on their way they voted at the planning and zoning, giving them still an opportunity to potentially change their mind at the council meeting, but willing to be able to hear what the members of that board wanted to say. But nevertheless, we agreed that we'll table it. We'll table it for 30 days. We'll table it for 60 days. I'm going to allow that conversation to take place when this meeting is over in the days to come between the attorneys of each organization. So I ask each of you that when you hear your residents speak, one of the things that Miami-Dade County Mayor and we and the mayors of Miami-Dade County have come together, and we are working hard to create a united voice. The mayor of Miami-Dade County has been gracious where he's listening to what the needs of the community are so that we can come together with one voice. It's not easy to get 34 municipalities in a county to do that, but it's happening. So what I ask all of you is take a moment to think and how we, and I'm including myself, how we can potentially also make that difference, because of 34 mayors with 34 different personalities and a county mayor with an enormous amount of experience can stop everything and come together to hear one another, not necessarily agree, but then walk out of that meeting and be able to say, for the greater good of our Miami-Dade County, we're gonna do this. And I would like to believe that the members in this council can do the same thing, because if any silver lining comes from this really unfortunate time in all of our lives, because this is one crisis that each and every single one of us, doesn't matter if you're 5 years old and it doesn't matter if you're 90, well, clearly we know older, it's gonna matter a lot more, but it's impacting each and every single one of us. And I ask each and every single one of you to think about that as we move forward, as we work together, and as we continue to move in the greater good for the village of El Portal. With that said, I have in the effort to collaborate with my colleagues on the dais, I wanted to extend the local emergency declaration as safer at home. When we declare a local state of emergency, when it's done by Florida and done by the county, generally when the county does it, all municipalities fall into place, because Florida usurps the county usurps all of our authorities. But every municipality will take the step and just create their own state of local emergency, but they adopt the county language. But with that said, and I did something a little different this time, and as we all take lessons learned, I've asked, while this does not require a vote, I'm asking for a vote on that for the council so that we're all on the same page. Unfortunately, I cannot see all of you, so you all can't sign this. So we're going to do it by the vote so that the clerk can have yes, yes, and then this can get posted, either it's yes, no, whatever the case may be. But for those that didn't receive it, I'm gonna read the state of local emergency declaration, safer at home for the village of El Portal. Whereas Florida statutes 252.38, 2 and 3 provide authority to political subdivisions, the authority to declare and enact a state of local emergency for a period of up to 7 days, thereby waiving the procedures and formalities otherwise required of the political subdivision by state or local law. And whereas a state of emergency was declared by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Executive Order 20-52, and Miami-Dade County Executive Declaration of Local State of Emergency on March 12, 2020, following the discovery of the dangerous and highly contagious COVID-19 virus. And whereas COVID-19 is a severe acute respiratory illness that is highly contagious and can spread easily among humans, primarily through physical contact. And whereas based on the imminent threat to the life, health, and well-being of El Portal residents, especially the elderly and those with compromised immune systems. And whereas pursuant to the powers provided in Florida Statute 252.38-3 and Miami-Dade County Code Chapter 8B, Section 6, 1 and 3, on March 13, 2020, the village of El Portal mayor declared a first state of emergency to be in existence. And whereas it is in the best interest of all residents of our community and all local governments in Miami-Dade County to work cooperatively to successfully protect our residents and visitors. And whereas on March 26, 2020, the Miami-Dade County Mayor and the Miami-Dade County League of Cities discussed emergency measures in an effort to synchronize all municipalities to adopt similar language. And whereas Miami-Dade County Emergency Code 01-20 closed community centers and congregate living facilities, whereas Miami-Dade County Emergency Orders 05-20, 06-20, and 08-20 closed parks, beaches, marinas, and recreational facilities and limited the operation of common use scooters, moped, motorized bicycles, and other micro-mobility devices. And whereas Miami-Dade County Emergency Order 07-20 closed non-essential commercial and retail businesses. And whereas Miami-Dade County Order 09-20, as amended, prohibits hotels, motels, and short-term rentals from accepting guests beyond essential lodgers. And whereas Miami-Dade County Order 10-20 limited groups of 10 or more people on public streets, alleys, public ways, and sidewalks. And whereas Miami-Dade County Emergency Order 11-20 urged individuals aged 65 and older, or those individuals with underlying medical conditions that put them at high risk, to stay home. And whereas Miami-Dade County has repeatedly urged its residents and businesses to observe the Center for Disease Control's social distancing guidelines in their activities. And whereas in March 26, 2020, Miami-Dade County Mayor ordered the totality of all emergency orders issued by Miami-Dade County, as mentioned above, may be amended or issued from time to time, shall all be referred to as a safer at home protocols. And whereas Miami-Dade County municipalities shall use the provisions of this County Emergency Order 1220 to serve as a minimum standard in their municipalities. And whereas the Village of El Portal Mayor reminds our residents that the Village of El Portal follows Miami-Dade County protocol during an emergency. As such, we urge our residents to follow the aforementioned Miami-Dade County emergency orders, also available on the Miami-Dade County website and the Village of El Portal website. And now, therefore, with the consensus of the Village Council, the Mayor of the Village of El Portal, concurring with the Miami-Dade County Emergency Order 12-20, supports a safer at home order in El Portal. And whereby also in consensus with the Village Council, the Mayor extends the declaration of a local state of emergency in El Portal to be consistent with Miami-Dade County and the state of Florida. This order may be extended in increments of 7 days as necessary. Therefore, pursuant to this declaration, further emergency orders may be issued by the mayor to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the village. So if I can ask the council for any discussion or a motion to adopt.
A motion to adopt.
I'll second that motion, Madam Mayor.
There's a motion made by Councilperson Werman and Vice Mayor Nickerson. Any discussion from the council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilperson Urban.
Yes.
Councilperson Roman.
Yes.
Councilperson Pirella. Councilperson Pirella.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
I thank you all, and once we get to see each other, I ask you all to sign it, because then that will go posted at the Village Hall. In the interim, the clerk will put yes, yes, yes on a vote next to all your names. And again, I thank you all. So now we're going to move forward. Now we're going to kick off to good and welfare. This is a time where I ask residents who are on the call to please, as the attorney mentioned earlier in the meeting, in the event that you missed because you arrived a little late, Norman, would you like to repeat how the participants, the attendees can participate in good and welfare?
Right, so public comment will occur as they always do in the council and committee meetings. So how to be recognized, if you're using a mobile device, click the raised hand on that button. If you're using your PC or personal computer, click on the icon participants on the bottom of your screen. You'll see the option to raise your hand. Once your hand is raised, then the mayor can recognize you to speak.
Okay, great, thank you. So now we have 3 raised hands, and in the order they came in was Courtney Kirk, Joni Hector, and then Maribel Fruitstone. So we'll go in that order. So I'll ask the moderator to please welcome in Courtney Kirk, please. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, can people hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, first of all, thank you, Madam Mayor, for the ability to speak. Regarding the Cristo Ray, I would like to,
Please name and address.
sorry, Courtney Kirk, 265 Northeast 87th Street. I did say it before, I had to rejoin because of the changing to a panelist. So a couple things. First, I'd like to make sure that the council knows that many in the community are still in favor of Cristo Ray as a member of our community. I believe that my angst was in seeing the agreement so close to a voting time, so a lack of opportunity to comment on it. Obviously, that since that meeting has been postponed, that issue goes away. But for the Cristo Ray folks on, there are a number of us who still believe this is a good addition to the community. Secondly, on the upcoming items, I did not actually see the agreement for Cavista in the attachment, and I don't know if that's going to be presented on screen tonight or how that's going to be presented. So that would be my question for the chair. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Courtney. I apologize if you didn't get the agreement, but I'll ask the clerk if she could put it on the screen, but as a reminder, if you have access to your December agenda, it's the same one.
Okay, it wasn't included in the attachment, so I'll have to go and try and find that if we can on the site. Thank you.
But if you can, if Yanis, when the item comes up, if we can put the development agreement, I think it's 4 pages. The one that was resent to us by Norman a few days ago. And it didn't get sent because it was in the December agenda already. But we apologize, and she'll work on getting it up for you. We can do a share screen. Thank you, Courtney. Joni Hector.
I would like to let you know that I very much appreciate how you're handling the meeting tonight. And my only concern had been predominantly that when we do go to vote on Cristo Ray, that I would ask the council to require the covenant again for the green space. But thank you so much, Claudia, council people, Chief Magnuson. Just an outstanding job. I feel very proud to be a resident of El Portal. Thank you.
Thank you, Joni. Did you state your name and address for the record? I don't remember.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's Joni Hector, 260 Northeast 88th Street.
Thank you. And
In El Portal.
thank you. Now we have Maribel Fruitstone.
Hi, thank you so much for having this forum. I wanted to, in the good and welfare, my name is Maribel Fruitstone, 157 Northwest 88th Street. I wanted to first inform our wonderful chief, that there was a beautiful celebration this past week on my street. There was a little girl who was 7 years old. They had a beautiful birthday parade for her in their cars, and the police officer that came and was on duty sang to the little girl on the PA. So I wanted to let him know and say that that was a beautiful sense of community that we experienced, and the police just made it that much more special, I think, for her. And then the second thing I wanted to bring to council's attention is, as the president of the El Portal Women's Club, we have a chat online, and we are busily making masks. So if there are any health professionals that you know of or throughout the community that need those masks, we have about 5 or 6 ladies that are sewing up masks. And so to please let me know, and I would be happy to distribute those. We've already distributed about 100 out. And so we want to continue on that mission to help the community and our medical people, you know. So thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Fruitstone. Thank you for being here this evening as well. At this time, also for Good and Welfare, are there any other attendees that would like to make a comment? Hearing none, Rudy, I believe you're on. I know you wanted to say a few words. I don't know if you wanted to take the time to do it now. I believe you wanted to address the community. If so, if you can raise your hand. Okay, there he, yes. Let's bring Rudy in, please, Kyle.
He's on mute.
Can you hear me now?
We
Can
can.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And I do appreciate the time to address the group council as well as the residents. As you know, from the very beginning, we have told you that we want to be good neighbors. That has not changed, nor will it ever change. We are in unique times, as we all know, and our main goal was to make sure that the village residents are comfortable with the new procedure, with a virtual meeting, with their ability to ask questions and cross-examine. And we want to make sure that occurred, and that's why the mayor and I agreed that we would postpone our pursuit of the special exemption until the village would be comfortable in whatever manner they would be. This may be the way meetings are conducted for the foreseeable future. We don't know. But one thing we do know is that we didn't want to appear to rush this process. We believe that 4 appearances before the residents were adequate. We felt that we had expressed ourselves and the residents had expressed themselves, and we had really created quite a nice relationship. But if there are any concerns out there, we want to make sure that they're fully addressed. Therefore, us and the mayor agreed that it was in our best interest and in the village's best interest to delay our petition until a later date. We hope that date will be soon, and we will abide by whatever you indicate is the appropriate time for us to come back and pursue our petition. Like I said, we just want to be good neighbors, and that's the way we indicate our goodwill. So thank you, Mayor, for allowing me the time to speak.
Rudy, in closing, can you just please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Rudy Checky, 2665 South Bayshore Drive, Miami, Florida.
Again, thank you for joining us this evening. Any other attendee that would like to make a comment before we close Good and Welfare and move on to the agenda items? Does any raise hands? No. Okay, hearing none. Let's go to the first agenda item. The first agenda item is I-5, resolution, oh, no, sorry, stand by. All right. First, we're going to start off with the ordinances. There are 3. These are all second readings. With that said, ordinance 2019-06 is a second reading, is Cavista to establish a public benefits trust fund. Norman, can you please read it into the record?
Yes, Madam Mayor. An ordinance of the Village Council of El Portal, Florida, amending Article 8, Public Benefits Program to provide for the establishment of a public benefits trust fund, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflicts repealer, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Yes, Norman, this was first read in December and passed. Just for a little background information, can you just talk a little bit about it to kind of refresh the memory of those that have heard it and to shed light to those who may have not have been here? And no, I don't think you need to bring that now. Eunice, the development agreement will be for I-3, okay?
Yes, the development agreement, which we will get to shortly, provides for the developer to make a contribution or cash contribution to the village as part of the negotiated development agreement. However, our code did not provide for a vehicle to have those funds received and deposited into a trust fund, which is customarily or legally what's done when a developer makes these types of cash contributions in lieu of providing for park space or open space under the agreement. So the first step in being able to receive the funds is to actually establish the trust fund, which is what Ordinance 2019-6 will do. And then the next one that we'll discuss, which will be to allow for benefits contribution, which will be to allow for the village to actually receive the funds. So it's a 2-step process.
And then the third one is when we will put the development agreement up, and then we can
Right.
go.
Right.
So with that said, to the council, is there, I'm going to first ask for a motion and then we'll ask for discussion. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance 2019-06 on second reading?
A motion to adopt.
There's a motion on the table. There's a motion on the virtual online made by Councilperson Roman. Is there a second?
Second that motion, ma'am.
Second by Vice Mayor Nickerson. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the council for discussion. I know it's been a few months since we've heard it, so this is a good opportunity if the council members have a question to address it to either the attorney or to the manager.
I would just like to say this is not what I want to be saying right now, but I'm making a motion to table the remaining agenda items to the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
There is a motion on the table already, and for the approval of the agenda, that's already passed. That recommendation should have been done there. But there is a motion right now for ordinance 2019-06. Is there any discussion on 2019-06?
Well, if I may, Madam Mayor, if I understood Mr. Urban's motion, he made a motion to table the rest of the agenda. And if that's the motion that takes precedence, so that has to be voted on. If I heard him correctly, is that what you requested?
That is exactly what I requested.
So if there's a motion and a second, then it has to be voted on.
Is there a second to Councilperson Urban's motion to not address any item on the agenda?
Do we move forward, Madam Mayor, with a motion, a second motion, although we already had a motion?
The attorney is saying if there's a second. There is already a motion to approve ordinance 2019-06.
However, a motion to table takes precedent. So to the extent that he's made a motion to table, if there's a second, that vote would take precedent over the motion to approve the item. And he's made that motion. If he gets a second, then there has to be a roll call vote on that motion.
Okay. So there is a motion to table all items on the agenda. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a second by Councilperson Perrella. Any discussion from the council?
If I may state why I made the motion. It is clear that this is a format that is good. It's good that we're able to be together as a council in this format. I simply do not feel that it is reasonable to believe that the residents are prepared to digest this and think about this critically. And I believe that by the next general council meeting, there will be full confidence from the residents that we are in a position to hear everyone's voices and go about this business confidently. It is not a matter of bowing to the pandemic. It is not a matter of giving up. It is not a matter of giving in. For me, I just simply feel strongly, clearly, that it is unreasonable for us to go about business as normal on this first iteration of this format, as well as being so recent to the total disruption of federal, state, and county orders. And so that is the reasoning behind my making the motion.
Thank you, Councilperson Urban. I believe Vice Mayor Nickerson has his hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councilperson Urban. You know, it's difficult. Well, I was looking and I'm looking at everything that's on the agenda. I have my computer up right now as we're on here. I have a question for Councilperson Urban. So when he says the motion for to table the rest of the meeting, is he talking about first of all the skateboard park exception also, or is he talking about just the Cavista things?
This is no, you have it right. My my desire behind the motion is to end with F2 and good and welfare already having been completed, and effectively reports might be the only remaining agenda items. I would allow an amendment to allow reports for the end of the meeting, but agenda items I is what I'm directly referring to.
So all agenda items, including the special, the skateboard park.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Just wanted a clarification, Madam Mayor.
And to be clear, I do feel prepared and ready to vote on these items, and I'm in fact in favor of virtually all of them, but I still feel very strongly, clearly.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open a public comment. Anybody would like to make a comment or a question? We have one hand raised. Maribel Fruitstone.
Hi, Maribel Fruitstone, 157 Northwest 88th Street. I was not expecting to hear something like that, but after the explanation, I would like to put on record that I think that what Councilperson Urban is saying is quite interesting, because it is a new format. Maybe, if we had more residents up on the Zoom, that would be this new format, that it would give more of an opportunity for people, or they're going to become a lot more comfortable with this format, or we could be out of this by the time is the next council meeting. Actually, no, 30 days, it would be hard to say, but it was an interesting idea that I want to support as a resident, because I don't feel that there are enough people. Like I myself was like, oh my God, there's a meeting today at 7:00. And so I was thankfully able to join at 7:30. So, and I know that there are a lot of residents that are extremely passionate about what's starting to happen, and they would love to let you all know. So that's my thought on it. So thank you for your time.
I thank you, Maribel. Any other public comments? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to close public comments and open it up back to the meeting. And I just want to say this before we open up for the discussion. I completely heard what you said, Maribel, but I've been on the council for 12 years, and I'm looking at the amount of residents that are on right now. I haven't seen that participation, not even at the town hall for Cristo Rey. So I understand putting things off because residents are very passionate, but the passionate residents don't show up. They don't show up. So it's really hard to do business if we're going to wait. I do believe that most people know that they elect the governing body because we represent the people. So we represent the will of the people. As such, it is our jobs as elected to be in touch with the people and to talk to them. Because when we come here, we took an oath of office to show up to all the meetings, because we know that most people can't do that. And that's why they elect a governing body locally, county, state, and federal. So I hear your passion that there is a lot of eager people, but I don't see them at meetings ever. But I do, from what my neighbors tell me, they all speak thereafter on social media, but that doesn't help progress. Progress helps when you come here. When you come to meetings, that's when it helps. It doesn't help when you speak against what your town or village or city is trying to do. And when we brought this item forward first in November, then in December, well, meanwhile, this is a project that the village has been working on for 8 years. 8. And in December, when it was voted on, I specifically said we would not vote in this in January and probably not November, because it gives the residents 2 months to ask your elected body to call the manager, to call the attorney, to call someone and ask. I asked my colleagues on the dais, have you gotten any calls about this? Because I haven't. So I understand that we want to wait for our residents to come on, but they never do. I have Courtney that comes. Joni and Ken will attend at times as well. You have Adam Old that will attend. You have Hugh Gladwin that will attend sometimes. Maribel, you attend. Sometimes Kristen McLean. Sometimes Ms. Brooks. I can name them in 2 hands. And that's for the better part of the 12 years that I've been elected. So if we want to wait to, and it's interesting because I believe that when we are able to go back to the dais, our residents are going to want this instead. Because guess what? You can be traveling for work now, and then you go to your hotel room, you can log on to a meeting. How beautiful is that? That is powerful. That is more powerful than being able to get in your car and go to the village hall. Because now we're bringing it to you. I mean, that's a gift that I don't know if our governor is going to extend, but I can't say that when I see 40 participants, and granted is the applicants, and we probably have maybe 10, 12 residents on this call right now. Pretty impressive. So that is what I have to say. If I, you know, and I'm going to say something that I found out today, and then I think it just shows our ethic as a council, as mayor, and as the administration. I was on a call today with all 34 municipalities discussing online, discussing other things that we can collaborate on. And when they found out that I was having a council meeting using Zoom, they all are too, there's a lot of platforms, Zoom just happens to be one of them, but that we were allowing residents to come on live to ask questions, they were wowed by that. There is not a single municipality, and I can say this on the record because I'm not lying, that allow live residents to raise their hand and participate like we're doing it. They ask the residents before time to send a question, a statement to the clerk, and then the clerk has to read them all in good and welfare. And then she has to also say that all of these comments will be duly noted and taken into consideration before the council makes a vote. So I say to you that if you want us to wait for residents, then we're going to be waiting for a while, because I don't see them attending our meetings. And I can also maybe venture to say that this platform is going to be like this in April. It is going to be like this in May. I already know that. June is the only one I'm unsure of. It's a possibility.
Yes, and I acknowledge that this is.
I'm not done yet. So I say all this to say that, yeah, we can wait for April and we can wait for that. But it's preventing progress to a village that merited and for work that has been done. There's nothing new about this project. There's nothing, yes, I'm sure that when we get into the development agreement that, you know, there's going to be questions, and all right. But I'm also going to state something. I asked Councilperson Urban, I hate to put you on the spot, but I specifically asked on the record. Now, I understand there was personal things going on in your life. I have a lot of personal things on my life. But I specifically asked, who wants to handle the additional responsibility to coordinate the detail of how the monies is going to be spent? Because everybody thinks the mayor likes to do everything, and that is not a true statement. I asked, and because at that meeting, Councilperson Urban had a lot of questions, and I feel, you know, he was relatively new and eager. I asked, I allow you to take the lead and work with the attorney. You couldn't do it at the time. I understand that. But it hasn't been worked on, and it hasn't entirely been looked at, and no one has. I don't want to say no one does anything until we get here, but it happens. And so these meetings matter. And again, it's a complete disservice in my opinion, to the community, to the applicant, to the whole process of government. Because there's no way that anybody can say that we are not completely transparent. We are so transparent, and I am proud of that, completely proud of it. Vice Mayor Nickerson has his hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, I'm trying to find the middle ground here. So I have a couple questions. Well, I have a question for, I'm not sure, I know the individuals representing Cavista are also here. They might be better to answer this question, but you know, yourself or the manager or even the attorney probably. If the Cavista items are delayed for another month, is there any like deadlines that are, or legal deadlines or something like that, to where these items are, you know, have to be passed? Because if they're not passed by tonight, you know, there's some legal deadline or something coming up. Is there something like that to where we would delay for another month, that it would hurt any of these ordinances or anything? That was my only question. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I can say this. When we annexed this area, it was a really proud time for us. It was hard work that Jason Walker did at the time, and it was work that Adam Old also did. And it was during the time that I was also in the council. And we were very excited when we got it, because when we achieved the annexation, it was at a time that the Miami-Dade County was not approving any annexation at all. We were the only municipality that were awarded a portion of that area, and we got the area. When both Barrington brothers purchased it and started meeting with us, it's a process. I'm not an investor and I'm not a developer, and they should speak if they would want to. But I must say this: it's a process to everything. It's a process to get things done. I think most of you have realized that in government, things do not happen overnight. It happens over time. So, well, there may not be a legal deadline, but I respect the fact that they still want to move forward in a time where there is uncertainty. And to me, it just shows that it's an opportunity that once they move the ball forward, it's going to be a benefit to the village, because they're going to be able to provide jobs to people that are going to need it. Waiting 30 days when it's something that most likely, and I think Councilperson Urban said he would be inclined to pass tonight, why not, in a time that we all have to work from home, in a time where there's really not much to do out there, to let these owners work and start preparing? Because I'm sure there's a lot that they have to do that they can do at home, working on the computer with the architect, with the attorney, contract, whatever it is. Why not allow them the opportunity to do it? The more that we defer an item, it just shows our inability to commit. And when we act in that manner, you have to question Cristo Rey, who's on this call. What's their ability? You're elected. You're elected to make a decision. And sometimes those decisions are not easy, but it's our job to do it. And it's a decision that, guess what? They want to be able to do something. They've been working on this project for 8 years. For the last probably 9 months, they've really been moving it forward.
If I may.
Being elected, I'm not done yet, and I'm going to go to Councilperson. She has her hand up. Being elected means something. And what it does mean is that we can't be wishy-washy. You have to make a decision and know that the one you made, you can sleep on. And that is essentially our primary responsibility. And I would hope that each of you that has been elected or just sworn in have taken the time to do your homework and get the questions answered. Because that's another thing. I don't blame our residents if they don't have questions, because they elected you to ask the questions. They elected you to know the answers. They elected you to call the manager, to call the attorney, to call the applicant, and get the questions answered that they would ask, because they can't come to every meeting. So it is our responsibility to be informed. It is our responsibility to know the answers. It is our responsibility to have a comfort level, because it is our responsibility when we run for office that we have to make these decisions even in a dire time. You're probably right. Our town is probably going through a lot. All of us are. I own a business. I've been shut down for 3 weeks. I have 9 employees. I got to worry about how I'm going to pay them, and they have 9 families. I have to do that, but this is my priority. So I have to compartmentalize and focus on this, because this is important too. And if you ran for office and you're sworn in, you've made the decision, and you have made a conscious decision that you're going to be informed and that you're going to be prepared for every meeting. And prepared means that you have the knowledge to be able to make a decision that when you go to bed at night, you can sleep. And if you all are not ready, then it's shame on all of you, not me. And it's embarrassing to the applicant, is how I feel. But I'll go to Councilperson Roman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm having a hard time with this motion, and I'm having a hard time with the motion because this is not the first time that we're discussing this. This is not a first reading. We have been discussing this since last year. And this is a second reading. And so our residents have had plenty of time to review the information, to call us, to ask questions. And putting this, we're meeting tonight because we're moving forward. And if we're moving forward, delaying anything it's just a waste of all of our times this evening. And so I just needed to share that.
Councilperson Urban, I think you said you still wanted to, there you are.
Yes, so I see the number of attendants we have tonight, and I'm not disregarding the desire to move forward, even in the face of adversity. I'm 100% in favor of this. It is more of a question of prudence matched with logistics. So here it is at 8:20 in the evening. We have everybody who's attending essentially isolated within their home so they can be in a quiet place and attend this, while I'm sure at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening, most homes are not quiet this time of night. So taking 45 minutes at the first iteration of this format to go through swearing in a new council member, a new council person, and then going through the appropriate step of updating the public on the COVID-19 response, that put us at 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And so I take issue with the idea that just because this is the final reading, second, there's already been 2 just I take issue with thinking that, well, we were going to come in and rubber stamp this thing anyway. I don't find that to be a valid argument for continuing. In addition, I would like to know, what are any of these applicants going to be able to do in the next 30 days with the Village of El Portal? That's a direct question. I really would like to know what any of these applicants are going to be able to do for the next 30 days with the Village of El Portal.
Councilperson Roman, do you have your hand up again? Any other comments? I have a, I'm going to answer your question after I take, I think there's a public comment. Somebody has their hand up. I'm gonna, it's the applicant. So if we can please allow Ben Fernandez, if you can bring Ben Fernandez in, please, Kyle.
Good evening, Mayor Cabillos, Council. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my request to address you. Ben Fernandez, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, on behalf of the applicants, the Barrington Brothers. I just wanted to directly respond to Councilman Urban's question because I think it's a good question, but I will tell you that there's a lot that can be done, Councilman, during this time. Architects and engineers are all working remotely. The expectation has been that this project is headed towards an approval. We, at the last meeting, as you know, didn't have any opposition to the project. We've had a favorable staff recommendation that has bolstered my client's intent to move forward on this project. They have many projects ongoing. They've brought this one to the forefront, but to do so, they need to prepare architectural and engineering plans so that they can be ready to bring construction to the site. And they think that they can do that. This is an opportune time, actually, to complete those plans. So a delay would really accomplish nothing and would just add to, the carrying costs for my client, which have been significant given that we've been working on this for over a year. And really, it has come to the council more than a typical project would need to, simply because we have different types of applications that we've presented to you, including the development agreement and the site plan approval, et cetera. So I don't want to belabor the point, but we would really encourage the board to please move forward with the agenda and hear our application this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Since I'm open there for public, anybody else before I close public comments? We have Scott Russell. Kyle?
Hi, good afternoon.
Just name and address for the record.
Yes, Scott Russell, 199 Northwest 90th Street, El Portal. Madam Mayor, I just want to convey my thought process and commend your direction on moving this agenda forward and not deferring it. I think in the nature of the business it's applying and in good faith, I think it's been on the docket for enough time. And I encourage that you all move forward with this agenda in the direction of your vote today. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. If I can please have Jairo Ribeiro. We'll do Jairo, Maribel, and then I see Kevin. Kevin and Michael.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councilperson Roman. It is a very hard time for our village, our county, our state, our nation, our world during this epidemic. And I see that your efforts in moving our operations, our village forward, very content. I enjoy having you in representing my interests in the village. I find Councilperson Urban comments and delays to be non-valid. We should not be postponing any of these issues of operating the village because we don't know what's going to happen 30 days from now. We don't know what's going to happen 60 days from now. He has not push forward any agenda items, anything from code enforcement or any other village meetings towards the council. I don't see a reason why we should be delaying this. This needs to move forward and it needs to move forward now. Thank you very much. It's Jairo Ribeiro, J. Ribeiro, 225 Northeast 86th Street. Sorry, I didn't say that at the beginning.
Yes, thank you. And if anybody could please state your name and address for the record, please. We have Maribel Fruitstone and then Kevin Michael.
Hi, Maribel Fruitstone, 157 Northwest 88th Street. I just wanted to come back to the council and say thank you for Madam Mayor for bringing it to my attention. I, as a resident, have not been doing my due diligence in attending and staying abreast of many of the items. And so with your passionate discussion about this, being a teacher, I have to hear two sides of a story. And I was not aware that many of these things have been since last year. I feel that we may have to move forward because many of the things that couldn't be accomplished fast enough with Sanctuary, we are now with Cristo Rey. And I don't want another possibility happening with our other annexed location. If they have some good ideas and good things happening with that, it would be wonderful to continue to move forward, employing people and doing all these things for the, and the betterment of El Portal. So yes, thank you for your time and that I was able to again express myself. And I am in support of it. It sounds like we need change in the village. So thank you.
Thank you, Maribel Fruitstone. We have Kevin Michael. Just state your name and address for the record, please. Hi, Kevin. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to the council for, as the mayor mentioned, providing this format for us as residents to be able to participate. Yep, for us to be able to participate. Also, Kevin Michael, 25 Northwest 86th Street. Just don't want to forget that. Thank you. And I would certainly go ahead on the record as supporting some of my fellow residents in saying that we should move forward with the business of the village. You have a number of applicants who are here who have been going through the process that we have asked them to follow to be able to do business here in our lovely village. And I believe that to postpone this meeting would send a signal that we are not serious about our business in the time of crisis even. So I would suggest strongly and urge the council members to move forward with the agenda as proposed.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other hands up? Hold on. We have Adam Old.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please state your name and address for the record.
Adam Old, 140 Northeast 86th Street. Thanks. Sorry, it was hard to get on there. I really appreciate you guys doing this virtual meeting. This is like 1,000% better than a regular meeting. I have fed both my kids. I put them to bed, and the reason why I can't ever come to regular meetings is because I have family obligations, and this makes it very easy for me to do. And I think there's a lot of people that are in the same situation as me. You know, I can spend 5 minutes and, you know, tell them to brush their teeth and tell them to get in bed, and, you know, all that stuff can happen while I'm at the meeting. I think we put a lot of weight on, you know, the few people that are able to, you know, drag themselves off work in time to get to the meeting and sit in the chair for 3 hours with no other responsibilities. But there's not that many of us that can do that, and this is a lot better. So go ahead and continue, I think. Thanks.
Thank you. And then we have Sandra Valencia.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Sandra Valencia, 8633 Northeast Miami Court. I'm not very well versed in terms of all the documents that have been shared and discussed since last year regarding all these items and all these applicants, but I'm hearing that moving forward with these items may suggest that we can secure employment for the village. This is something that I understood from all the comments from everybody. So is there such a writing within this contractual, documents or whatever it is that we're dealing with that suggests or assures such a thing? Because that will be interesting. That's something that I will probably be supporting and moving forward with these items. It's just a question.
Sandra, I'm sorry, is your question that moving this item forward is going to employ residents?
Yes, because I'm hearing that probably these projects and these applicants will probably, or these developments around the area will promote employment for our village members and people that probably is listening, at the moment, their employment. So I was just wondering if there is any writing on it that is suggesting or reassuring us that they will actually offer, employment to the village.
So I apologize, and I'm going to stand corrected. I did not say it was going to employ any members of the village. What I said was when you have economic development, like an apartment building going up or a school or a restaurant, it provides opportunity for employment, whether it's contractors, construction workers, architects, future whatever positions that they need, that as Florida being an equal opportunity right to work state, I'm sure can apply, but nowhere is there a commitment that they're going to hire anybody here. It was just when you have a development moving forward, it's just progress and it's movement and it is economic development and it is opportunity because they're going to have to hire a lot of people to do all that work. And I apologize and I stand corrected for that.
Okay, maybe it was a misunderstanding. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We have Ken Hector.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Ken Hector, 260 Northeast 88th Street. I just want to chime in on a couple of things I've heard tonight. First of all, I think we live in a time that this is a once in a lifetime event that we're all living through. It's not acute to New York City or to New Delhi. It's all of us. And we're going to have to learn how to live with the new normal. And I think one of the new normals is we might have to have council meetings and other meetings and do our work online and through Zoom and other platforms. And so we need to think about that as a valid way of handling business. On another note, I, as a taxpayer and as a voter, voted for all of you to look at the facts of everything that goes on in this village and to make a decision for me and for us, everybody in the community, based on those facts. I didn't vote for politicians, excuse me, you're voted in, you're politicians, that are wishy-washy. I like to make a decision. I think that this item has been on the board for many, many months, and I agree with the mayor that there's apathy, and there was, maybe in the future it'll go away a little bit, with the community about the things that happen in our community. And this particular thing, I think, has been gone over and over again. I think it's a valid project. I think it's going to bring added value for what I hear is going to be 25 or 30% unemployment in this county that we all live in. We just don't live in El Portal. We live in Miami-Dade County. It's going to give us more of a tax base once it's completed. The longer you push it off, the less you're going to get taxes and revenue in for our community, which I think sooner or later we're going to need, because this event that we're living through might end up bringing our home values down. And and hence bring our taxes revenue to the community down. So I'm all in favor of, number one, that you go through with some of these things that you've gone over and over again and make a decision, yay, nay, whatever, and move along and make progress for our community. And I think now is the time to, what they say, fish or cut bait, what I've heard. And now's the time that you can start making decisions. Do I want to be an elected official and make a decision? Do I want to be wishy-washy? Do you want to push it off to the next meeting, the next meeting, whatever you like to do. Anyway, that's my dissertation. I'm for the project. I think it's a good progress. It's on a side of the community that it really doesn't impact our residential side. And I'm all for it, and I hope that you would vote on it sooner. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Anybody else? Any other resident before I close public comments? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to open it up back to the, oh, who's that? Stand by. We have Charles Winters, Kyle, and I'll close public comments after Charles. All right, Charles, can you hear us? Hi, we can't hear you. Not yet. You might have to turn your audio on. Raise the volume. You may need to correct your audio settings and join with audio. Can you hear me or no?
Yes.
Oh, yay. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
I'm Charles Winters, 377 Northeast 85th Street. Did you get it?
Yes, we got it.
All right. I wanted to mention two things. One was the first one, as a citizen here in El Portal, I do want to make the meetings like many others, but I work until 9 o'clock, sometimes midnight, and I have to take off work when there's a very important meeting to go to. So this is one of the few instances I can't participate. I'm very happy you have this online version of it right now. Second is, I just wanted to state a concern from previous experience with having the private school in the area. I used to work at Country Day in Miami Shores, and I heard a lot of stuff from administration back then. And they would buy out the little businesses around Country Day and purposely make them go out of business. And when the subway was put there next to Country Day, they said, oh, they don't even know we bought the parking lot, so they're going to go out of business. And then let it go, they went out of business. I think El Portal has a lot of room for growth with little businesses. And the only concern I would have is this: if this school is really amazing and it builds really well, if they start doing the same type of agenda where they might buy out little areas around here, we wait for it to develop. If you notice, everything down Northeast 6th right now in Miami Shores is kind of like a dead zone. All these businesses are boarded up because Country Day owns them, and they're not allowing any business to go into them. They're waiting to own every single property until they expand again. I was hoping maybe there's some way that if we do approve this school to come into El Portal, there's a way to protect the little businesses.
Hey, Charles. Thank you for your comment, which definitely value added. The agenda item that we're voting on right now is not the school. The school has been chosen to be tabled right now. We're talking about the Cavista. The Cavista is a two building, 8 stories each of apartment that's going to go on off of Biscayne Boulevard and about 83rd Street, excuse me. So that's the project we're talking about right now.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize. No, it's okay. But we don't know when Crystal Ray is going to go on. Just be aware of the public notice that gets sent by the clerk. But it could be April, could be May. We'll have them have conversations, their attorney and our attorney, to see when they will revisit it, and they'll come back. It could be April, could be May. But we said that a little earlier. You might have missed it.
I apologize. Thank you.
No, don't worry about it. All right. Thank you for being on. Okay, so we're going to close public comments and open it up back. We have Councilperson Urban, whose hand is raised, and then we also have Vice Mayor Nickerson. And then if it's okay, I'd like to go for a vote. Councilperson Urban.
I just want to make it clear to the residents that much of the agenda we're looking at tonight is in fact backlog going back to July of last year. There were 3 planning and zoning committee meetings that were canceled last year because of schedule conflicts between 2 different people on the dais. So I find it a little bit disingenuous to declare that in the name of progress, we're going forward with the full agenda this evening on an untested. I acknowledge that this is the future of what meetings are going to be. I acknowledge that. That's not the issue. It is a simple matter of prudence. And so to understand that much of what we're discussing here tonight is still on the agenda because of half of a year's planning and zoning meetings canceled because of schedule conflicts going back last year, since July. And so one of the reasons we have planning and zoning meetings monthly now is because of the backlog that created and the realization that there are things happening in El Portal and there is going to be a greater need for planning and zoning. And this agenda tonight is an extension of the backlog that came out of the Planning and Zoning Committee going back to July of last year. So we're all in agreement here. Having said that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilperson Urban. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All right, so the way I view this is on one hand, we have, the reality that this is our new norm, and I agree with Mayor Cabillos. I agree with Councilperson Roman that this information has been out there, and we have to stick to business is what we're elected for. I 100% agree with that. On the other hand, we have that this is the first time we're on Zoom. We have that there is the COVID-19, which is why we're on Zoom. And so just like the way I feel, just like inside myself, is just I'm trying to balance those two, because I want to, I'm for all of these Cavista items. Like, I'm personally for these Cavista items, and I think they should go through. On the other hand, though, I still, my heart goes out, and I still have to think about and keep in mind individuals that may be in our village. And I totally understand what everybody's saying about, who we usually get at the council meetings and how many we usually get at the council meetings. 100%, I understand that. But if there was no COVID-19 that broke out, we may not, tonight we would have been in Village Hall, and we may not have had anybody in Village Hall while we were doing this, doing this agenda. And I think at that point we should have, we should go through and vote everything. And like I said, I'm in support of all of these. But with the reality that we're in now, there is the COVID-19, and there may be residents in our village that may have family members in other cities or in other states that may have COVID-19. We don't know. We don't know if somebody's mother or father or sister or brother has coronavirus. Like, we don't know that. So even though, like, I agree that if nothing happened and we were in Village Hall, yeah, we might have had 2 or 3 people show up, and I think we should vote everything through. But since we don't know everybody's story, I think that this is my personal opinion. I just think that we should, just for the sake of safety, be like, okay, look, COVID-19 is here. This is our new norm. We're going to be on Zoom. From now on, there's no excuses. Just like if we were in Village Hall normally, if somebody didn't show up tonight and we would have voted all this stuff through, and then they come a month later, 2 months later, well, I didn't know you guys were going to vote. Well, you know we have a meeting at Village Hall every fourth Tuesday. There's no excuse. But now we're on Zoom, so it's different. So it's kind of like, you know, you might have some people that weren't fully prepared in a way. But if we say right now, tonight, look, you guys, we're going to be on Zoom, and this is how it's done. Therefore, next meeting, there's no excuses. So I'm just trying to be safe, to be like, you know, if we go through and pass everything tonight, which, like I said, I'm for these items. If we go through and pass these things tonight, then it's like a murky thing, because then people can come later and be like, you know what? I mean, I heard something about some internet meeting, but man, I was dealing with like my mom who was sick around that time. So I didn't even know it was a new thing. And you might have some people who are elderly in our community that may not really be good with electronics. And so they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I heard about it and I tried to get on, but I really couldn't get on. But if we say from right now, look, you have to figure Zoom out. We're on Zoom from now on. There's no excuse for next meeting. Then there actually is no excuse for next meeting. And that's just kind of the way I see it. That, for me, that's the way I see to balance it, to where it's fair to everybody. No questions is fair. No excuses is fair to everybody. And you guys are going to be exercised. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Appreciate it.
Any other discussion before I ask for roll call? Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, can I get roll call?
Roll call. Councilperson Perella. Person Perella,
Yes.
your vote? Yes?
To
Might have-
move forward with no.
Okay. Councilperson Urban,
Yes.
to move forward with,
Madam Clerk, I think you need to clarify what
yeah, because
folks are voting on.
yeah.
Councilman Urban made a motion to table or postpone the agenda for the next regular scheduled meeting. If you're in favor of that, the vote is yes. If you're against the motion, the vote is no. So please start the roll call over.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Councilperson Perella, if you're in favor of not, or yes, or if not is no. You might have to clarify it again, City Attorney, please, because.
Okay. Councilman Urban's motion is to table the agenda. So if you're in favor of tabling the agenda, you vote yes. If you're against tabling the agenda, you vote no.
Roll call. Councilperson
Yes.
Perella,
Yes.
Councilperson Urban,
Yes.
Councilperson Roman,
No.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and do your,
Well, the motion is table the entire agenda. The meeting is adjourned.
oh, that's even better. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion been made by Urban. Is there a second?
Second, Madam Mayor.
I'll get roll call in a minute. There's a motion to adjourn the meeting. To all the applicants to the applicants that are here, we apologize that you were not notified that this could happen. To our residents, that you believed in people, we applaud your efforts as well. And we apologize that as a lack thereof, we will not be moving forward. Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call to adjourn the meeting?
Roll call. Councilperson Perrella.
Yes.
Councilperson Urban.
Yes.
Councilperson Roman.
No.
Councilperson, Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Cubillos.
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Thank you all. Have a good night and be aware of the website as far as what the next steps are going to be.